Hey, and Love and Marriage Huntsville, Marsau Scott was arrested last night at the Madison County Jail for apparently having some speeding warrants for a speeding ticket, possibly that he never appeared in court for.
Anyone who has been watching Love and Marriage Huntsville for a while knows that Latisha Scott's recent reaction did not come out of nowhere. It felt intense, but it was actually the result of a long build-up of tension, rumors, and public pressure that had been growing for seasons. For some time, Tisha had been trying to protect her marriage and keep her personal life away from constant public criticism. She stayed mostly quiet, avoided unnecessary arguments, and often chose not to respond directly to gossip. From the outside, it looked like she was trying to hold things together while staying composed on camera, even when situations around her were clearly uncomfortable. That calm approach shifted during the April 16th episode. In that moment, something changed in how she carried herself. What began as a normal conversation quickly turned into a much stronger and more emotional statement. While speaking on...
I understand all of these different projects you have going on, but this, what? Why are you giving me attitude?
I don't think you understand.
I want you to understand my feelings. And I want you to acknowledge my feelings.
I listen to logic. If you want to communicate effectively with me, come in, sit down, and prove your point.
Okay, you name all these different projects you have going on, but at the end of the day, that's still my space. That was my space. And what if it happened to you? If somebody's sitting in your chair, you see a computer up, you see a degree up.
Quite frankly, just, there's not like commerce going on from that desk right now anyway.
Camera, she looked straight ahead with a serious expression and made it clear she was no longer willing to stay silent. Her message was not soft or indirect. She spoke in a firm and steady tone, showing that she was tired of rumors and constant speculation. Instead of ignoring the comments or brushing them off, she directly addressed the people she felt were involved in spreading negativity. Even though she did not name everyone specifically, her words carried a clear warning to those who understood the context. This was not just a random emotional moment. It felt like the result of repeated situations over time. Viewers have seen many small hints throughout the show's history that suggested ongoing tension around her husband, Marsau Scott. There have been rumors, side comments, and awkward interactions that fans have analyzed closely. Some cast members have also made indirect jokes or remarks that added to the suspicion.
There are a lot of double standards in this group. Marsau is a big-mouthed person, and he has a lot of standards, and some of them might be double. I don't know.
And drama. Because of this, many viewers have long felt that Tisha was dealing with more behind the scenes than she publicly admitted. While she often defended her husband and rejected negative claims, the consistency of the rumors kept the discussion alive. Every time Marsau reacted defensively or avoided certain questions, fans became even more curious about what was really going on. There were also ongoing conflicts between Tisha and other women in the cast. In particular, her relationship with people like Melody Holt has been tense for a long time. Their interactions often included subtle insults, emotional distance, and moments where neither side fully backed down. Even in group settings or reunion episodes, their body language often suggested unresolved issues. Because of all this history, Tisha's statement on April 16th did not feel like it was aimed at only one situation or one person. Instead, it seemed like a response to a larger pattern.
Like what? I don't understand. Like what? Latisha, do me a favor.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
A lot of times, Tisha hears things about Marsau she probably already know. She just don't want you to know. Because then the more people know, the more she might have to do something about it. Almost how Melody had to do, That's why I try to keep whatever Marsau and I done in the past with women and places we've gone, things we've done, people we shared. Him after me, though.
Felt she had been dealing with for years. She appeared frustrated not only with direct accusations, but also with what she believed were repeated attempts to disrespect her or test her patience. In her delivery, she showed a very different side of herself compared to her usual calm television presence. She was more direct, more serious, and less willing to soften her words. Her posture was confident, her focus was steady, and she did not appear emotional in a shaky or uncertain way. Instead, she seemed determined, as if she had already made up her mind about what needed to be said. Even her silence before speaking felt meaningful. It was as if she had reached a point where holding back was no longer an option, When she finally spoke, it carried the weight of everything she had not said before. That is what made the moment stand out so strongly for viewers. Many fans interpreted her message as a turning point. Some saw it as her finally standing up for herself after years of restraint, while others wondered if it could lead to more tension within her marriage and the group. The question quickly became whether this moment was just emotional frustration or a sign of deeper issues that could affect her relationship with Marsau. The rest of the cast reacted in different ways. Some appeared surprised, as if they were not expecting her to be so direct. Others looked like they had been waiting for her to finally speak openly. The room's energy shifted noticeably, with pauses, exchanged looks, and quiet reactions that suggested everyone understood the seriousness of what had just been said. Once the episode aired, the response outside the show was immediate. Social media quickly picked up on the moment, and discussions began spreading within hours. Viewers debated her tone, her intentions, and what might happen next. Some supported her decision to speak up, while others questioned what triggered the sudden change in behavior. Overall, this moment marked a clear shift in how Latisha presented herself on screen. Whether it leads to long-term consequences or simply reflects a temporary breaking point, it added a new layer to her storyline. It showed a woman who had reached her limit with rumors, criticism, and silence, and finally decided to respond in a direct and public way. Fans reacted in very different ways to Latisha's moment, and the discussion quickly split into two clear sides. Some viewers praised her for finally speaking up after staying quiet for so long. They felt it was about time she stopped protecting people who were not protecting her in return. To them, her statement looked like a breaking point, but also a moment of honesty that had been building up for years. Others, however, were more cautious about the situation. They questioned whether going public with her frustrations would actually help or make things worse. In their view, once personal issues are spoken about on television, especially in a reality show setting, it becomes difficult to control the outcome. Some even warned that if more details or receipts ever come out, it could create even deeper problems in her personal life and marriage. One thing most people did agree on, though, was that this version of Latisha felt completely different. She did not come across as calm, reserved, or willing to ignore things like before. Instead, she looked like someone who had reached her limit and was no longer interested in staying quiet just to keep the peace. Marsau Scott's response, or lack of response, also became a major talking point. For a couple who usually tries to appear united in public, his silence stood out. There was no direct comment addressing her statements, no clarification, and no public reassurance that things were fine between them. Even a simple social media post confirming they were okay was missing, which only increased curiosity among fans. Because of that silence, speculation grew quickly. Viewers started wondering what was really happening behind the scenes. Since reality TV often blends entertainment with real personal struggles, people began reading between the lines, trying to figure out whether this was just a heated moment for the show or something deeper, affecting their real relationship. At this point, the bigger question shifted toward what this could mean for both Latisha's marriage and her public image. Her decision to speak so openly clearly changed how many people now view her relationship with Marsau. While they have always had ups and downs on screen, they still managed to present a certain level of unity in public. This moment disrupted that image and made things feel more exposed and uncertain. In private, it is easy for viewers to imagine that such a public statement could create tension. When issues are discussed so openly in front of cameras, it can feel personal and overwhelming, especially if one partner feels caught off guard. Marsau might feel exposed or even blindsided, depending on how he experienced the situation. At the same time, it raises questions about what their off-camera reality actually looks like compared to what is shown on screen. Still, Latisha's actions also suggest something important about her personal boundaries. She seems less willing now to stay silent just to protect her husband's image or to avoid conflict. Instead, she appears to be prioritizing her own voice and emotional limits, even if it creates discomfort in the process. There is also the question of her public brand and reputation. Over time, Latisha has built an image connected to family values, ambition, and personal strength. For some supporters, this moment actually reinforces that image. They see her as someone standing up for herself, refusing to be dismissed, and choosing honesty over silence. At the same time, reality television always carries risk. Publicly addressing personal issues can increase attention and sympathy, but it can also invite more criticism and long-term complications. If the situation continues to unfold in a messy or unclear way, it could easily shift public opinion again. Beyond the drama itself, Latisha's message touched on something broader that many viewers related to. It highlighted how women are often expected to stay quiet when facing rumors, disrespect, or betrayal, especially in public relationships. Many people believe she challenged that expectation by refusing to stay silent and instead choosing to speak directly about her frustration. This is part of why reactions were so mixed. Some people admired her for breaking that silence and expressing herself openly. Others felt she should have handled things privately rather than on camera. The same action created both support and criticism at the same time, depending on how viewers interpret public honesty versus private responsibility. Comments from fans reflected this divide clearly. Some praised her strength, saying she had every right to defend herself and refused to be treated as weak. Others pointed out that she had likely been holding in those emotions for a long time, and that her reaction felt like a natural release rather than a random outburst. What stood out most is that this situation does not have a simple right or wrong answer. It comes from emotion, pressure, and long-term tension that viewers may not fully see. In moments like this, people are often reacting not just to what is happening now, but to everything that has built up over time. It also connects to a larger issue about relationships in the public eye. When a marriage becomes part of entertainment, every rumor or misunderstanding gets amplified. Small issues can quickly turn into major conversations, and silence can sometimes be interpreted as guilt rather than privacy. That pressure alone can change how couples handle conflict. By speaking out, Latisha may have been trying to take control of that narrative before it grew even more complicated. Instead of letting rumors define her relationship, she chose to address the frustration directly, even if it meant inviting more attention. Whether that helps or harms her in the long run is still unclear. What is clear, however, is that she is no longer willing to remain silent while speculation grows around her. She is choosing to speak, even if it creates discomfort for herself and those around her. And that is exactly why this